welcome to Fish Talk TV, another edition of Fishing for the Rest of Us. We hope that you've been following us and that you've enjoyed some of the shows we put on. If you do, let us know. I'm Charlie.
I'm Mark.
And I'm Joe.
And we're the guys that do it every week, or hopefully every week for you. This week we've got a lot to talk about, so we're going to get into it as quickly as we can. One of the biggest things, Chris, was the weather this past weekend. It was a mess.
Yeah, we had a lot of rain. Mark and I are from the central part of the state there, Charlie, and we had more than 10 inches of rain. Incredible. The Marsh River system is flooded right now. All the dams are under watch and alerts right now. Even lakes like one on Scotland Run, Willow Grove Lake, which had no dam. Looks like it's got a dam because it's completely filled with water.
My backyard was a lake.
As a matter of fact, I just said to your neighbor, you were building an ark.
That much water.
You know, that much water. You know, I wonder how it affects fishing. That much fresh water, 8 to 10 inches, regardless. You know, the sea's a big place, but the back bays still have to empty out.
And it's not just, if you think of Delaware Bay as the sort of our model here. It's not only the Marsh River, but the entire Delaware River Valley that got this water.
Yes.
So you're going to reduce salinity, which is going to reduce the sort of the range in which fish want to go upstream. They can actually tell where that saline water is.
Now,
it's going to reduce the temperature.
It's not all washed down yet either.
No, it's going to be a while.
6 days.
So those fish are going to move down the system, and what would have been, the different ranges of salinity in the bay, from fresher near the Delaware Memorial Bridge to saltier by Cape May, that whole system will move down to where freshwater will actually move fairly far down into the system.
You know, it might be a good idea for our viewers, especially this week, if you have any fishing reports, to let us know. That'd be interesting, I think, to know how that which you just spoke about has affected the fishing where you fish.
It's also going to bring turbidity up, so all those things. I sent Mark a couple photos of the area on the Marsh River, and it's so turbulent, and so it looks like a western rapids type river.
Well, coming down the Delaware, I think that means more telephone poles.
Yeah, exactly. That's your
And sofas.
I'm glad we got out fishing on Saturday before this.
Yeah, well, let's get right into it. How'd you do?
Well, we didn't do bad. We didn't have any keepers. We caught a couple small bluefish and a few small flounder.
And a couple black sea bass.
Mark and I made it out the inlet. We went out through Wreck Inlet. And
where'd you go?
We went out to a buoy known as the WR2 buoy, which is the sort of the lead-in buoy to Little Egg Inlet. Okay. And I guess about 6 miles out plus. Yeah. And it was beautiful out there.
Yeah.
Flat. Not too many fish. The fish had turned on and turned off. There wasn't much, but it was a nice day.
Well, my son and I and grandson did an impromptu, hard word to say, a fishing trip last Thursday. I'm glad we did, just before the rains came. We ran out to the Cape May Reef. We did about 35, 37 fish, most of which was caught by my grandson. And we had 5 keepers. We had 3 really nice black sea bass, the largest of which was about 14.5 inch. And we had 2 nice flounder, 19 and 20.
Nice.
I caught my normal catch limit, which was none. So my record stands, guys. I'm not going to. I go out there and I try. That's why we call this fishing for the rest of us.
2011 is going to go out a banner year for Charlie. 0 for 0 for 0.
Well, we do what we can. We did get some photographs and what have you, and why don't we take a minute and take a look at them? You're going to find them where, guys?
Up
there.
Let's go! Go! Here we go with Fish Talk Radio. Talk fishing and boating. So much more. Get better. Fish better. You'll be ready when the big one bites. Let's go!
Well, that's all about our fishing trip. I hope you enjoyed some of those photographs. And if you have some, why don't you send it to us? We'll post them here, and right in the middle of the show, you can see your lovely face and whatever catch you may have. We'll be glad to do that, and hope you'll enjoy it. Something that the Coast Guard does every year, while it's not exactly banner headlines, It should be said, nevertheless, over and over and over again. And that is, we talk about don't drink and drive, right? What else should we do?
Not drink and boat.
Drink and boat. It's one thing for the passengers on board have a six-pack and everybody enjoy a beer. It's another thing when the captain gets blitzed. And it's the major cause of accidents. Specifically, we see it down in the Cape May Harbor quite a bit, where you get people out there partying, they get a bit too much sun. When you're out in the sun and so forth, it may take one less beer than you think it does. Then all of a sudden your perception, what happens, change. So the Coast Guard always makes the statement, don't drink and boat. There it's said. We don't have to say it again. Next, we want to cover something that we run into all the time, guys. Joe and Mark boat all the time. They're in north part of Brigantine, up that area. I boat out of Cape May. And, of course, we know other fellows who have boats from all over the place. And we get together from time to time. We talk about the issue of actually navigation with other boating. And what we've done is to done a little research and to I'd like to present to you some of the rules of the road, as it were. And with that, I'm going to talk a little bit, and each of us will take a part, because each of us captains the boat, and it's each of us responsibility to know this kind of information. And that means so should you. So the rules of the right-of-way on the water have one basic purpose, and that's to keep everyone from bumping into each other and collisions. I mean, that's probably as easily said as possible. However, to do this, there are certain rules and regulations that have been in place for a long, long time that will help you stay and avoid those collisions. So the easiest way to sum up this part of navigation rules is, if you can move around more easily than the other boats, then you have the responsibility to stay out of other people's way. That's as simple as we can say. So if you're less maneuverable, then you are the one that's going to have the right of way. Now there's a term there called stand-on vessel. It's confusing. I know we were talking about this earlier. However, that's the actual term which the Coast Guard uses. And there is a rank of vessels in order of priority.
How's it ranked, Joe?
Joe, it's ranked based on the highest priority vessel is the one most difficult to maneuver. I'll give you an idea. If I may, I'm going to kind of just read them down, because this is the way the law reads. Number one, not under command, a vessel which, for whatever reason, cannot control where it goes.
So, like a barge, or...
Exactly, yes.
Okay.
A barge or something of that nature which has no control of its own. It also might be...
How about a floating dock?
That would call... that comes under pom-pom. Navigational problem. But it also includes, as an instance, a boat which has lost its engine capability. It's just floating.
What about a boat that is on automatic pilot?
No, that is different.
Okay.
Because if you have autopilot on board, you're supposed to have still someone at watch. You're not supposed to just because.
That's right. That's not maneuverability. That's the function of driving the boat.
Right. If you have autopilot on, and no one's watching, that comes with the heading of stupid. All right. And you can't fix stupid. So the key is not under control where it goes. And there's some exact example, guys. The next one, number two, is restricted in its ability to maneuver. A vessel which, because of the tasks it's doing, cannot change direction or speed easily, or maybe even at all.
Tankers in the Delaware River.
Exactly.
Tubs in a narrow channel.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. That's exactly what that means. By the way, there's something that's very, very important that a lot of people don't realize. It should be obvious. You look at it, you know what's there, but people don't perceive it. And that is never, ever, ever run between a tug and the barge. People forget that there is this line in between. It's not a rubber band. It's a 6 or 8 inch cable. It's as taut as can be. And there's a lot of accidents, particularly at night. Because while you're running radar, you see the one vessel here, and you might see the barge in back. You have to remember that between these things is a wire that's going to cut the top of your boat off.
And they're a quarter or a half mile apart.
Yes, That's true, Joe.
Yeah.
Very, very true. You see them in the Delaware River and out in the shipping channels all the time. The next is constraint by draft. Now, this is number 3, a vessel which must stay away from shallow waters to avoid running aground. Now, what that might be.
A fishing boat, one of these large boats coming out of Lunds near you,
Yeah.
Something like that.
Something with a large draft.
A large draft, exactly.
Possibly a barge.
2 martinis.
Or a nice Budweiser.
Yeah, a large draft.
A draft is a draft. So, but that's what it means exactly. So, because you can't get into shallow waters, again, your responsibility is stay out of its way. Next is a vessel, number 4, which is fishing or trawling, but not trolling.
Right, the trawler can actually maneuver himself around, pull his lines in, and get out of the way.
Yes, sir.
When you're trawling that net, he's set in a position that he can't even stop, or that net will come and tangle into his prop.
Yes.
So for those reasons, that's, I guess, the reason why they have elevation above the next one below.
Yes, and it's by reason of their work. It also might be, as an instance, a vessel which is moving equipment around at sea, construction, this type of thing, all right? Might also include that. But fishing vessels, commercial fishers, and the rule is just stay out of their way.
They're nasty anyway.
They're nasty. Plus, if you run a mile behind them, you might run into the nets, too. So stay away from them. Number 5 is sailboats under sail, or a boat being paddled or rowed. Now, we see this in the canal in Cape May all the time. You see it in the back of Brigantine. What do we see?
They can,
Actually, I think
kayakers.
with the stand-up guys now on surfboards in the middle of nowhere. You see this guy coming by on a surfboard, and you're 3 miles from any place, standing up, paddling by it. Yeah, them.
Yeah, they make wonderful targets, don't they? It makes you wonder.
Oh, well, targets for greenheads, for sure. They can't knock them off.
Especially, oh my Lord, yes. Especially where you guys do. So, sailboats under sail. However, as soon as that sailboat takes its sail down and goes under power of its engine, it has the same responsibility, it has no further rights than does any other power boat, which is last.
So any power boat, which is essentially what we do, we're the bottom of the rung.
Yes.
Because we have the most maneuverability, we have the best sight,
Least draft.
the least draft, all the things that these other boats don't have, we have.
That's exactly right.
Except for the armaments dealing with military vessels. And you were saying, Mark, that there's another category that comes in here?
Yeah, well, when I went to the Coast Guard course, one of the main things they taught us there was that if your area of fishing has military vehicles in the area, you are required to be 300 feet away from those military vessels at all times. And anytime that you're going to go underneath that 300-foot limit, you're just to get on the horn and contact the captain of the ship to let them know that you're going to be passing within that 300 feet range.
And we do that on channel 9 and 16.
9 and 16, right?
But the military will monitor them as well?
Oh, yes. All vessels monitor 9 and 16. 9 is the boat-to-boat, 16.
So they're monitoring. They may be working off some sideband that we don't know about.
Physically, they function, with all kinds of satellites and so forth. But every vessel.
Mind control.
Yes. 9 and 16. We hope everybody was there. In fact, we hope the last show you followed through with the VHF radio information we gave you.
Well, Charlie,
we don't have that many military vehicles around where we are. I mean, you have probably the biggest one, which is the
Coast Guard.
Coast Guard.
But folks that might be up in New York Harbor who have both Navy and
Yes.
Coast Guard, folks that may listen to us and watch us down out of Norfolk or in Chesapeake,
Yes.
they have the major bases down there with the comings and goings of the Navy, with being the East Coast being one of the major areas for it, you're going to run into it sometime.
Yeah, you bet.
Even in Philadelphia.
San Diego's the same thing.
Exactly.
With San Francisco. So, Mark, talk a little bit, if you will, to the idea of right-of-way or stand-on and give-way vessels.
Okay, basically, the difference, once you are clear about the types of boats which have priority, you need to understand how to pass, cross, or overtake another boat on the water.
This is a big thing, because we see, especially the channels,
Yeah.
it gets brutal.
The way I see it is the more gold you're wearing, the more likely you're going to be passing very fast.
Everyone is expected to know and obey the rules, since knowing what you should do, and what others will do helps to prevent accidents. Assuming that you will be out on the water in a powerboat or sailboat, this is what you need to know. First, you need to understand what it means to be either a stand-on vessel or a give-way vessel.
Now, that's a very confusing term for a lot of people.
Yeah, especially me. The give-way vessel seems obvious that it is the give-way vessel is the one that the vessel must give way to the other.
Now, explain in your feelings what that means, what your understanding is.
Well, the give-way vessel, as you explained to me earlier, if there's a boat here and I'm the boat that's going to be passing that boat, I am the give-way vessel. This is the stand-on vessel that I'm passing. The stand-on vessel then is clearly the vessel that has the right-of-way. So that vessel that I'm passing, he has the right-of-way. But it's important to know that the give-way vessel must take steps to cross, pass, or overtake that stand-on vessel safely, and stand-on vessel is obligated to do what it is, or maintain his course in a safe manner.
Now, why would a stand-on vessel maintain his course and speed?
Well, first of all, he's already going a direction that he wants to go. The guy who's the give way is the one who has the option to pretty much go anywhere he wants.
On the head.
Right.
So the guy who's driving and going where he wants, he doesn't know the other guy's going to be passing him left and right. And even if he does, he still wants to go to point B, so he'll still continue to stay on course, normally.
A lot of people don't know.
Unless he's fearful, and he turns immediately into the next boat next to him.
Well, not how many times that's happened, especially in really narrow canals, and or by those who don't know these navigational rules. There's also some things that people don't know, and almost nobody uses them. Certainly, as fishermen, we don't. I don't see it happen anywhere. And that is that when you're passing, either port or starboard, you are to blow a horn.
That's right.
We won't get into the twos or the threes, who does what. But the object of that is to get the attention of the stand-on vessel and to indicate to him what your intentions are. We'll get into that to some other show, but that's also something that...
And we never see that.
No, never.
No, most times because you're in situations, at least where we boat, to where most people have their heads on a swivel.
Yes.
And they know you're coming. So it's not as if there's closed vessels or in tight quarters to where so many other things happening to where you need to use the signaling system. Most times people see you coming. So
especially a place like the Absecon Inlet or the Cape May Canal, or you hear horns all day
That's all you
long.
would hear. Exactly.
You don't know who's blowing at who.
well, after a while you start hearing guns.
Well, that's one way to figure out who's the give-way vessel.
Well, you know, a lot of this comes back into right-of-way as well, because it's not just on who gives way, but also which way you're coming. And, you know, it has the same basis as the orientation and the hierarchy that you read. I have to give way to sailboats. Myself and sailboats have to give way to trawlers and fishing vessels.
Right.
The three of us have to give way to minimum draft vessels, as well as all of us have to give way to something that has no ability to get out of its way, such as the barge or however else would be the other types of vessels. In addition, depending upon which way the boat is coming, there's also another type of stand-on and give way. If someone's passing or you're coming to like almost like an intersection kind of feel in your boating, someone coming from your right.
Give some examples.
Well, again, I'm driving to the east. Someone's coming to me from the south. I'm the give way vessel.
So you're heading straight forward, and he's coming from the starboard side.
He's coming from the starboard, or what we would on land call the right, right? S-T-A-R-B-R-D, right?
Also, at night, you would be seeing his red light.
His red light.
And he would be seeing your green
So
light.
the example of that would be, who is the stand-on and who's the give-way?
Again, he's the stand-on vessel, I'm the give-way vessel, because he has the right-of-way. I'm traveling the same direction. Somebody comes from my port side or from my left side. I'm the stand-on vessel. He's the give-way vessel.
You're the give-way vessel for a minute. What's your responsibility to do to the stand-on vessel?
Well, you have a number of different things. First of all, if it's a problem in lighting or whatever, you're signaling. If it's not that, it's making sure any motion that you do is very direct and very obvious.
And you also, perhaps, as an instance, slow down.
Or slow down to let him know that I understand that he's got the right of way. And dramatically do it so. Not so that you can't tell if he went from 5 miles an hour to 3.5 miles an hour.
And if you're-
You almost come to a stop. You
Yeah.
need to dramatically show a
If you're
change.
a quarter of a mile away, that's hard to tell. Another way might be that when you are the give-way vessel and the stand-on is crossing you, that you turn to his aft.
Well, everybody turns away from each other, and that way there you won't hit.
Well, the stand-on vessel has the responsibility to stay his course. So the give-way vessel would always turn to the stand-on vessel's aft. Then the other thing, though, we talked about a little bit was, suppose, and we know this is true, while we were talking about this here, we know this, but other people don't. So here we are, we're the stand-on vessel, we're coming from someone else's starboard side. They keep on coming and coming and coming. What can we do?
Well, at that point, you try to turn away from the path in his direction. So if he's coming at you from your left, you turn hard right.
Yes.
And do it very dramatically.
We moved to starboard in a very dramatic move. At the end of the day, yes, it's going to put us out of our way, yes, all that kind of stuff, but we've got to avoid collision on the water. I mean, it's bad enough on the ground when we're going to bang into and have a $10,000 fender bender. But on water, you can't get out of the boat and just walk over to see how the other guy is.
Depending on who you are.
Well, yes, if you're the Lord, then you have different rules.
And all of a sudden, he doesn't have a fender
Number
bender.
one.
I think the rules of the ranking vessel starts with Lord and the rest of us, all right?
The overlord.
So, Joe, why don't you give us some examples that you have there?
Take a situation where a powerboat is coming directly at you, and you're the give-on, and you're the give-way vessel, and the stand-on vessel is coming to you from the right-hand side. What would we do here? We would slow up,
Right.
and let him go by. And the same thing is coming from the left-hand side. If he doesn't see us, that's what we just spoke about. If he doesn't see you as the stand-on vessel, you turn away from him.
One last example, and then we'll kind of wrap up the piece today. And that is that here we are, we're all traveling the same canals and channels all the time. And we are constantly coming at each other, what looks to be bow to bow in a lot of cases. How many times you said, does he know, can he see me, is he aware of me, does he have his head out of his butt, this type of thing. The way to approach each other is just like in an automobile, isn't it?
Well, most times.
It's not required though, is it?
I wish it was.
Yes, but it's not. So, for safety's sake, as we come on and approach each other, bow to bow, if we pass each other port side to port side, in other words, just like we do in an automobile, my driver's door to his driver's door, if you will, is the easiest and most logical way and natural way for us to pass, particularly in the canal. We see this all the time.
And the way most of our boats are set up, that's probably the best way to have it as well.
It is. So, if you're the overtaking boat, you are the give-way boat and must pass at safe speed and distance. Distance also being critical because you're both a bow wake and an aft wake that can also move that other vessel and force him to change direction. We have to be aware how far away from we are when we pass him as well. So if you're considering overtaking another vessel, at the end of the day, avoid collision at all costs. All costs. If you have to slow down or whatever the case might be, that is, at the end of the day, safe boating means safe fishing. Guys, we've covered a lot.
I think we have.
And with that, we want to encourage you, before you go fishing every week, where should we go? Up here in weather, tide, sea conditions. We've got the best, and we hope that you'll check them out. We hope that you'll follow along with us, too. And we'd sure appreciate some emails, let you know what you think we're doing here, and if you enjoy what we're doing. If not, gee, do we want to hear from them? Yeah, we do. Let us know if you have some ideas about what we should be doing and not doing here on Fish Talk TV. With that, guys, it's time to head back to the docks. And with that, I'll say goodbye. I'm Charlie.
I'm Mark.
I'm Joe.
Keep your eyes in the water.
Let's go! Go! Here we go with Fish Talk Radio, talk fishing and boating. So much more. Get weather, fish better. You'll be ready when the big one bites. Let's go!